The person who knows the plan is unknown to the whole world. The current plan that is playing out in the world, it's still one plan. It just looks like 2 or 3 plans. It's one plan. The plan that's currently playing out, the dominant trajectory, was created by...
It turns out the key to losing weight and keeping it off is not in carbs or fat or even in probiotic-rich foods. No, the end game of having a healthy weight, as well as more energy and a long, healthy life, comes down to a specific switch you can flip in your body to flush out unnecessary calories. Dr. Stephen Gundry is calling this caloric bypass, and by activating this specific process in your body, he has seen thousands of people dramatically improve their health, even at age 50 and beyond. This includes losing weight, getting tons more energy, and returning to the good health they had in their youth. Dr. Stephen Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn more about it at thehealthyfat.com/inspired. It's linked at the bottom of this video, but he'll teach you exactly how he has kept off his weight for free at thehealthyfat.com/inspired, or you can click on the link in the video description down below.
Friends, here it is. I'm going to lay something out for you, and then you make up your own mind. We are definitely transitioning from one age to another age, from Pisces to Aquarius, or from the age of the occult to the age of light, if you will, or the golden age. There's different ways to put it. But I want to lay out the picture as to how the world has been steered over these last thousands and thousands of years in the age of the occult. 99% of the people out there don't know how it really works. And so number one is, for the longest time, humanity had to be dumbed down and kept from certain knowledge. Certain knowledge was strictly passed on to initiates, and usually that was within a certain family lineage. Not all of the knowledge. Nobody holds all of the knowledge simultaneously, because these people passing on this knowledge over eons of time, they're not necessarily special. They've just made everybody else less special through everything you could think of. Of course, through the education system, through religion, through food, through poison in the air, just a complete dumbing down and lowering the quality of thought, lowering the quality of health and everything else. And so what that creates is a ruling class that's completely invisible. It's not the people you can see. It's not the elites you can see. The ruling class is completely invisible. You've never heard of them. You will never hear of them. And they have abilities that nobody else has in that form, because nobody even knows anymore that these abilities exist. So, okay, now I will step into the first person version of how I would transform society or the world, speaking from the mindset that these, let's say, occultists have. Number one is, I would have to define an outcome that I see as favorable for whatever I deem to be the best course moving forward. So I would say, okay, in order for us, this ruling class, to have a future and to further our goals, I need to bring about a particular outcome, a radical change in society, a transformed society. Okay, so that is the mission goal, a transformed society, where the hierarchy is different, where the beliefs are different, where the lifestyle is different, everything's different. Now that I have my mission goal, I have to go about creating a vision as to how this could unfold and come about. Two things. Nobody knows the subject of the mission, what it is, or that it even exists. The only reason why I would tell somebody that it exists when I want to do it that way is to boost my ego. So here's the first thing. Have a destination. This is how I want to transform society. So now I create a vision of events that need to take place in order for this chain reaction to happen. Now, because I'm not telling anybody about this, because I'm not gathering a team and bringing them in my secret circle of initiates. No, no, no. What I want ultimately is for this chain reaction to produce the ideas within the people themselves that the best possible outcome is what I had planned all along. I want to create chain reactions in the world that will bring people to think that what my planned destination is actually their idea. This is how you manipulate people the best, when they think it's their idea. So now I go and I have to envision the path. I have to envision the obstacles. I have to see the opposition that is clearly there, the counter moves and everything. And I have to know how to manipulate events accordingly. How do I do that? The first thing is I have to study how radical change comes about. And for that, I go and study lives. I go and study the lives of people that have radically changed, like someone who was, let's say, born into poverty in a atheistic, communistic society, and that person ended up going somewhere else in the world, becoming a Christian, a capitalist, rich, healthy, whatever. So I have to look for the most radical changes within one lifetime that I can find, and then I have to study that life. And I have to study 10, 15, 20, 30, 100, 1,000 people, and what exactly were their pressure points? When did they start to change? Why did they start to change? What had to happen for that change to happen? Why did they make choice A, choice B, choice C? And how did they end up in that radically changed position that they're in? Once I understand how the human psyche operates and how the human creative power operates, what triggers it, what pressures it, and when I can find average pressure points, meaning I look at 1,000 transformed lives, and I find the same pressure points over and over and over again. I find the same transformation points over and over and over again. I find the same decision markers over and over and over again. Now I have data that I can use. Now what I do is, and this is how these occult thinkers think, because they have abilities that most of the people don't have anymore. Now what I do is I create 3, 4, 5 paths, complete visions in my mind. And then I look at the most favorable to the least favorable, but I plan them all out in my mind. That's all I do. I plan them all out. The events, the timeline, the pressure points, decision markers, everything. And then I don't go out and write a book. I don't go out and start a TV show, or I don't go out and meet with people and start telling them about it. No, no, no. I start injecting thoughts into people's minds. This is what they know is possible, and they know how to do it. This is what these occult planners of world events have done over and over again. So what they look for is the most influential people in different aspects of society with the greatest ego, and then they test it. Then you go and say you need people from the finance sector, from the political sector, from the science sector, from the religious sector. You need all these people to begin initiating changes in their fields without understanding that they're being manipulated. So how do you do that? Well, you pick one of these thought leaders in their fields, big ego, huge influencer, right? And then you start studying them, study their daily lives. What do they do? When do they do it? And then you pick the most favorable time to start injecting ideas into their minds. Whoever here understands quantum and quantum entanglement and the power of thought and the power of the elemental images understands that this is possible. So then I go and then I inject an idea into that person's mind. And part of that idea is some sort of public announcement. Why do I include that? Because I want to see that I can really control that person and their minds. So when they, a few weeks later, come out and make that particular public announcement, I know I had influenced them. So then I go and I start putting thoughts in their minds and visions in their minds that they think are theirs, because I know what kind of chain reaction I need to start initiating. And then I know they will start that movement in their sector. I don't have to do it. They will do it. And I know because they will do it, it will trigger a chain reaction and more people will do it. And this will bring about the first step of the change that I want. I do the same in politics. I do the same in science. I do the same in religion. I pick the weakest, most egotistical, but most influential religious leader, right? They exist. They're very influential, but they're weak and they're egotistical. I influence them. People call it magic, mysticism, but this is how they operate. And I manipulate them. And now these people, they create changes. They create plans. They themselves create movements. They themselves do all the things that they thought was their idea. What is my goal? To bring about the chain reactions that I have envisioned to come to that end goal that I had envisioned in the beginning. However, never in that whole process am I directly interfering or telling somebody something. It's all other people doing the work. And because they're starting movements in their respective sectors, people are beginning to get ideas as to what is the best solution for this now, and what is the next best solution. And eventually, they end up thinking that they had the idea to bring about this final outcome that I wanted from the get-go, that this is the best possible solution. And this is how they've been steering the world for eons and eons and eons. Think about it. If all you did, if all your family ever did, think back 100 generations, and all they ever did, their sole focus in life was to pass on the perfect power of elemental creation with your thoughts, envisioning it. This is all that your family lineage has ever done. And they've passed this on from generation to generation to generation, 100 generations. How perfected is that power, you think? And so when somebody tells me, trust the plan, because they know the plan, it's the biggest load of bullshit. Nobody knows the plan. Nobody knows the plan. This is occult. Occult means hidden. People perceive it as mystical, as magical, but it's really just using a human capability that everybody else has been robbed of. And so if you think that the Qs, the Trumps, or whoever is out there, that they are the initiators of this plan, it's complete nonsense. They cannot be, because this was born from the age of the occult. This was still born from the age of the occult. However, because these multi-generational occult secret and oath keepers have perfected their game so much, even they out there believe they are the ones who had these ideas. There is, however, an asymmetrical movement, and the only movement that can finally break through the age of this occult power and finally move in a different direction. Because what did I say in the beginning? For this to work, all of the human family has to be dumbed down. Their capabilities have to be diminished. Their abilities to create have to be greatly diminished. They have to be kept in a perpetual loop of sickness and worry and anger and fear, right? Because then you're just part of this occult plan without even knowing it. That's when you're the pawn. So here, the only way to break through this is to absolutely break through this linear projection upward in consciousness and actually break through all manipulated dimensions straight to creator energy, straight there. That's the only way how you break through this, because then you are not receptive to those occult messages over and over and over again. You're not receptive to the bullshit because you receive your guidance from a much, 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 much higher place. And this is what is breaking up this age of the occult. So you have to break through the consciousness of the occult and step into true divinity. That's why this is so important. Otherwise, your mind and your spirit are trapped in this. And the great manipulation is to make you think these are your intuitions and ideas, or these are pure intuitions and ideas, when they really come from the oath keepers and the secret keepers. And for that, you simply have to elevate your consciousness. There's no way around this. There is no way around this. There is no way around this. You have to break through the proverbial ceiling, the glass ceiling that you cannot see. But when you break through, then you know it. And this is how we absolutely and without a doubt transform this game once and for all. It's always been that, but you have to understand how it really works. Nobody knows the plan. The person who knows the plan is unknown to the whole world. The current plan that is playing out in the world, it's still one plan. it just looks like 2 or 3 plans. It's one plan. The plan that's currently playing out, the dominant trajectory, was created by maybe a handful of people, if that you've never heard of and you will never hear of. They're nameless, faceless. You could walk past them. You would never know they are there. All they do is think, envision, manipulate. That's all that they're here for. That's what they've been born to do. That's what their lives are destined to be. And so consciousness is the only way out. There's nothing else. There is nothing else. Naturally, consciousness will find expressions and actions in this reality. Your consciousness, depending on its state, will inspire you to take certain actions, do certain things, say certain things naturally. But it is consciousness that is the way out and nothing else.
You deserve the truth, but big tech does not want you to hear it. So we built our own Inspired platform on the inspiredchannel.com. Just click the link in the video description or the pinned comment.